10 of the NFL season has now officially come and gone. And like always, there was no shortage of crazy plays, crazy games, shocking finishes. And for some reason, I know we're at week 10, but this week more than any week this season, I've looked at these teams' records and I've really taken a step back and I'm like, wow, I know this team has been struggling. I know this team has been playing very well, but they're that record, or this team has that many wins, that many losses. It's been crazy. Now we're going to get to that. We're going to talk about all of the craziness and what is kind of standing out and kind of shocking to this point of the season. But it's another jammed-packed episode. This is K&A Football. So Austin, I'm gonna go ahead and just straight ahead and ask you what did you think of this week's games? And as you can tell, Austin did not answer that question. Crazy enough, I missed last week. I was really sick, and Austin did a great job filling in for me, or so we thought. Unfortunately, we met as a K&A football team and decided that the last episode's ratings really were down, and it was really just a flop of an episode. And so, unfortunately, it does come with great sadness, as we do mention that Austin is no longer a part of the K&A football team, and it is now the K&K Football Podcast. We think it has a good ring to it. So, K is actually Debbie's middle name, and so that's where the other K comes from. Just K and D doesn't sound as good as K and K. So now we're with Debbie, who's making back-to-back appearances. So Debbie,
what's poppin'? Yeah, back at it again.
Yeah, Debbie's now a full-time person. Okay, and obviously you guys all know that is obviously not true. Somehow, oddly enough, Austin is now sick, so he's at home, I guess, in his dorm. So. We hope Austin gets well soon. Prayers to him, and yeah.
Prayers week, that I don't get sick next.
Yeah, I know. It's gone to me, then Austin. Now it's coming to you. So next week we might be cooked, because if Debbie is sick, we are not getting anything done. But yeah, Austin could say whatever he really wanted last week with no repercussions and nothing coming from me to tell him he's wrong. So now it's gonna be the opposite of that, and so I'm very excited for it. But it's going to be weird without Austin here. I'm not going to lie. So without further ado, let's just jump into the top 3 plays of the week. And not going to lie, I know there was a lot of good games this week, but finding 3 top plays was very hard. I could find 2 good ones unless I really am missing one. So if I am, let me know in the comments or shoot us a DM, because I was really struggling. And I watched all of these games. So play number 3, we have Marquez Valdez-Scantling. His first game for the New Orleans Saints. You can go ahead and roll this, Debbie. They're at the 40-yard line, leading 3-0 against the Falcons, and Derek Carr does what we've seen him do a lot this season and throw a beautiful deep ball, 40-yard touchdown. Valdez-Scantling. He ended up with 3 catches in this game, over 115 yards and 2 touchdowns. So not a lot of catches, but a lot of action and a lot of big impact plays. And we've seen Derek Carr do that many times this year. Week 1 against the Panthers, week 2 against Dallas, and now here. So in the big wins for New Orleans, Derek Carr goes deep, and we saw that in that one. And then the next play, I know a lot of people seeing this maybe. If you're watching this on YouTube, you can see the play before we're playing it. But if you're watching it or listening to it, we appreciate you for that, but go ahead and look at the YouTube so you can see the plays as they're going on. But if you're seeing this, you're probably rolling your eyes, because you can go ahead and start rolling the clip, Debbie. But the Chiefs are about to lose their first game. It's a 35-yard chip shot field goal, and the kick is blocked. Kansas City wins the game, moves to 9-0. A 35-yard field goal. That in this day and age, in 2024, a 35-yard field goal is as close to automatic as you can be. And for the Chiefs to go ahead, block the field goal, I mean, they were only winning by 2. So if that goes in, it's ball game. So the Chiefs, us here in the studio, we were all very happy. I know Austin texted me right after. It's a weird place to be at where you're rooting for the Chiefs because I've never rooted for the Chiefs before. I mean, the first couple years of Mahomes, I think everybody was like, all right, this is awesome. But now it's gotten to the point where they win so much and everyone's rooting against them and annoyed when they win. But Austin, Debbie, and myself all have a little bit of stake in the Chiefs this year because of the Hail Mary prediction made a couple of weeks back. I guess that would have been 4 or 5 weeks back now. And so every win, we're getting excited that the Chiefs are winning. So it was weird to root for the Chiefs, but it was a good play nonetheless. Obviously, helped them move to 9-0. And then our number 1 play, unfortunately, Austin couldn't be here for this one because when this happened, he about had a heart attack. He went as far as to say that Baker is the most fun QB to ever watch, and he would take Baker over any QB. Debbie,
Wild.
yeah, Debbie, do you hear that?
That's crazy.
Any QB in the NFL.
Actually wild.
Any QB in the NFL, and Austin claims
Nah.
he would take Baker Mayfield. But, I mean, it was a good play, but you can go ahead and roll the clip. 4th and 7, they're down by 3, down to their last gasp, obviously. Baker takes the snap. He's looking, and he's evading pressure, and he's just running. And he's holding on. He's being held by Nick Bosa, and he's stiff-arming Nick Bosa, and they're just walking for a good 5-6 yards, and he's just... It really, when you slow it down and watch it in slow motion, it looks really weird because it looks like Nick Bosa is just like hugging onto his arm. Like it literally looks like if Nick Bosa would just fall to the ground there, the play's over and the game's over because that's 4th down. But instead, Baker just keeps pushing him off like he was his little brother. And he's like, get off of me, like stop. And then just flicks it forward for an incredible 1st down to keep the drive going. Ultimately lost the game, but tied the game up that drive. So great play by Baker Mayfield. That's the number 1 play this week. And Austin, if you are listening in your sick bed, you're welcome. I know you definitely would want me to put that on there this week because you absolutely loved that play. So, yeah, we can go ahead and just jump right into the Week 10 scores. So, Week 10 started off with a bang on Thursday Night Football. We got the Ravens and we got the Bengals. And something about Joe Burrow, his ability increases by like 30% when he decides he's playing the Ravens. If we can remember back a couple of weeks ago, they played the Ravens, that absolute shootout game. I think he threw for 5 touchdowns that game or 400 yards, something in that realm. Well, in this game, he threw for 428 yards and 4 more touchdowns in a losing effort, which is very sad for the Bengals because they're a team that, as we know, they don't normally start fast. They didn't start fast again this year, and so they're trying to make that late season push to make the playoffs. Well, they're 4-6 right now. This was a big divisional game, and they lose. Their offense is doing everything that it can, scoring 34 points against a pretty good Ravens defense, but the Ravens scored 35. Lamar Jackson in this game, He was doing a lot through the air, which is not what we've seen a lot of the career, but this season we've seen a lot more Lamar Jackson through the air. Derrick Henry had a quieter game. He only had 68 rushing yards. He did still score a touchdown, but one of the biggest stories of this game was Jamar Chase, who finished with 11 receptions, 264 yards, and not 1, not 2, but 3 touchdowns in this game. If you played against Jamar Chase in fantasy, I'm very sorry, but you lost your fantasy match on Thursday night. I know that happened to a lot of people. I know that happened to Debbie, actually, and Debbie didn't watch this game, and Debbie didn't know until Sunday morning when Debbie checked the score and lost it. What was that experience like, Debbie?
It was pretty terrible. I mean, I am not the most crazy fantasy football player. So when I checked it early Sunday morning, because I was just checking in, oh, do I need to drop anybody last minute or anything like that? And it was just I'm cooked. It was really bad.
It was a really funny text message to see when he's like, oh, how do you score 55 points or whatever you said. So, but the Bengals losing this game on a 2-point conversion, they score late and they go for 2 Obviously, we saw this on last Monday night with the Chiefs and the Bucks. And the Bucks didn't go for 2. They went to overtime and lost the coin toss and lost the game. And so the Bengals said, we're not going to put the game in the hands of a coin flip. We're going to go for 2. And they went for 2, and it fell incomplete. There was a little bit of controversy with, was there a hold? Was there not a hold? Regardless, they lost the game. Your defense has to step up if you're Cincinnati. You can't win every game 40-42. I mean, their offense is playing out of its mind, and their defense is playing as great as the offense is, just on the opposite end of the spectrum. If they can just get their defense a little bit going, they can be okay, and they can make that playoff push. Fortunately for them, I believe they're only a game back from the wild card right now. So they still have many weeks to make up for this, and if they can continue to play at a high offensive level and just step up their defensive play, they will be fine. Well, now we'll jump into the Sunday games. This game was in Germany, and Debbie, I know we've had a lot of games in Germany, or not Germany, in London, like 9 o'clock games, but I've never really grown to hate them as much as I did this week, because my team, the Panthers, played this week in Germany, and they kicked off at 9:30 in the morning, and we were at church. And so I couldn't watch the whole first half of this game against, the Giants, a very winnable game. And I'm like, of course, like the one time that we can win, I can't even watch the first half. So, but we did win. Spoiler alert.
And he didn't watch during church, so kudos to him.
Thank you. Yeah,
it took a lot of self-restraint, but he got through it.
I mean, I would not. First of all, my parents would kill me, and second of all, I would not feel right about that. As great as football is way more important. But paying attention at church is way more important. So Bryce Young in this game, if you are just a casual, and don't look at the game and just look at the box score, 15 for 25, 126 yards and a touchdown. That's not very good. That's just like average. But he did exactly what he was asked to do. He came out, and like I talked about on the phone call last week, ever since his benching in week 2, he has played so much better. He's doing what he needs to. He's doing what he's asked to do. Last week against New Orleans, he played great. This week against the Giants, he had a phenomenal first half, and he only threw the ball, I think it was 10 times in the second half, but he wasn't asked to do much. Chuba Hubbard had an amazing day with 153 yards on the ground and a touchdown. They were just running the ball because they were having success. So why would you put the ball in Bryce Young's hands when you can just run and win the game? And he did what he had to do. He wasn't making mistakes, and they won this game in overtime, 20-17. The Panthers have their first winning streak, their first back-to-back wins since 2022. That's crazy. It's 2024. It's been 2 years since that. So Daniel Jones on the other side of the ball had another Daniel Jones type of day. 22 for 37, 190 yards, and 2 interceptions. There's a lot of conversation right now with the Giants about, okay, is it time to bench him? And it's sounding like there's a very, very likely chance. They have a bye this upcoming week, and then there's a very likely chance that Drew Lock is going to be their quarterback going into week 12. So this might be the end of the Daniel Jones era. It was about 60 games too long, about 3 seasons too long. Daniel Jones, I know he's not going to be happy with getting benched, but he can always hang his hat on. He absolutely finessed the Giants into a massive contract. I mean, you've seen Bryce Young, Anthony Richardson, Aiden O'Connell, Gardner Minshew. You've seen many guys get benched after a half a season, 10 games. Daniel Jones has been terrible, has shown maybe one season of potential, which was the year they went to the playoffs. But aside from that, he has shown nothing in his 5 or 6 years of being a starter, and they gave him a massive extension. So I'm sorry if you're a Giants fan, but fortunately for you, you are probably going to wind up with a top 3 pick, and you can get your next QB because Daniel Jones will not be there long. Right, we're going to go ahead and jump to the next game. It's kind of weird, not having Austin here because Austin would be the one who'd jump to the next one. So Awesome, we're missing you. But we're going to go Vikings and Jaguars. And the Vikings are one of those teams that, I was talking about on the opening. Yes, we know they started out undefeated, and we know that they were, I think, 5-0. And the last couple weeks, they've really struggled. They lost that game, obviously, to the Rams on Thursday night. They lost to the Lions, who the Lions you're going to lose to. It's fine. But they haven't looked like the same undefeated team the last couple of weeks. And obviously, they're coming into this one now. They're playing the Jaguars without Trevor Lawrence. Like it should be a cakewalk. You're going to beat the Jags. And they barely did. They didn't score a touchdown. They kicked 4 field goals in this game. But as I was getting at is the Vikings are 7-2. I don't know if that's just me like looking over that, but I didn't realize that they're 7-2. I don't think people at this point in the season are saying the Vikings are contenders, especially with how they've played as of late. But 7-2, they're in the driver's seat to make the playoffs. I mean, maybe not win their division because they're in the division with Detroit. Detroit is sitting at, I believe, 8-1 right now, which is insane. 7-2 is not leading their division, but 7-2, they're gonna be in the playoffs, and it's gonna be a really interesting the rest of the way to see how they do with some more competition. I mean, Jacksonville's a very bad team, and you really struggled. What I'm getting at is Sam Darnold. He had 241 yards in this game, so hey, that's not bad. But you're playing Jacksonville, one of, if not the worst pass defense in the NFL, and he had 3 interceptions in this game. 1 interception is okay. 2 interceptions is a rough game. 3 interceptions, that's a bad game. And that's what we've seen from Sam Darnold a lot in his early years. We saw that all the time in New York, all the time in Carolina, and we haven't seen it at all really so far in Minnesota, and that's why people were saying he's revived his career. Well, this was kind of Sam Darnold saying, no, I'm still Sam Darnold, and if you are dumb enough to start Sam Darnold in your fantasy league, I'm dumb enough to start Sam Darnold this week. He performed terribly, with his 3 interceptions and near 0 touchdowns. Fortunately, they won the game because Mac Jones and the Jaguars are that bad. But the Vikings got to figure something out. If they can't play offense like this with Sam Darnold throwing 3 picks against the Jags, not a good team, like I said. And you're going to be playing the Lions again. You're going to be playing the Packers again. Like, you're in a hard NFC North that you can't afford to take losses like that. But fortunately, like I said, they're 7-2, so they have a lot of breathing room, which I didn't really think about or realize. But yeah. And another part of this game is Mac Jones. He's still terrible. He played just like how he did in New England. So next game, this was a very entertaining game. One of, if not the games of the week, at least on paper, and it performed just like we expected it to. Steelers beat the Commanders 28-27. Jaden Daniels obviously having a stellar rookie season, and Russell Wilson has played phenomenal football for the Steelers ever since he came back mid-season. And this Jaden Daniels, he had a quieter game in terms of passing. He only threw for 200 yards in this game, but he didn't throw any touchdowns. They scored all of their touchdowns through the ground. It was a lot of Austin Eckler. Jeremy McNichols scored a touchdown. Brian Robinson was out in this game. But Russell Wilson continues to light it up. 195 yards, 3 touchdowns through the air, 1 interception for him. But really, it's just these 2 teams have been very surprising. That's another one. Like, I know that Pittsburgh has played very well. I know that they've been winning games and they're really not taking losses. But when you look at their record, they are 7-2. That's the same as the Vikings, but the Vikings started out 5-0. Like, the Steelers 7-2 is insane to me. If you would have asked a Steelers fan before the season, 7-2 would not have been any of their guesses, unless you're a delusional type of fan. What is Debbie pulling up? Adam Schefter says he would not be surprised if Daniel Jones has played his last snap for the Giants. Right. That's what we were talking about earlier. Daniel Jones might be done with the Giants, might be done with the NFL. No team is going to want Daniel Jones. And if they do, they deserve all the losses that are going to be coming to him. But then on the other side, the Commanders, they lost this game, but they've only dropped to 7-3. That's another. I mean, obviously the Commanders have been one of, if not the story of the season so far this season, and how Jaden Daniels has just outperformed, and they've played amazing. I mean, 7-3. Commanders fans haven't seen 7-3. I don't even know. I don't think I've ever seen the Commanders close to 7-3. So both teams completely outperformed so far this season, and I don't think either team can be too mad coming out of this game. It wasn't a domination. It was a really close game. Washington lost this game off of a boneheaded mistake by their rookie defensive tackle. It got to Pittsburgh, needed a first down on 4th and 1 from their own 50, and everybody watching the game, everybody at the game, knew that they were not going to snap the ball at the end. They were trying to make Washington jump on the hard count. Everybody except for one player on Washington, their rookie D tackle, and he jumped. And I mean, obviously right there, that salts the game away. So if that doesn't happen, maybe we're talking about Jaden Daniels leading a comeback last second drive. But obviously it did happen. Steelers moved to 7-2. Commanders fall to 7-3. Big game for Washington on Thursday night against the Eagles for the lead, I believe, in the NFC East. Another very good game was the 49ers and the Bucks. Obviously, the top play of the week came out of this game for us, the Baker Mayfield stiff arm, which we hinted at is they went down, they tied the game at 20. And then the Viking. Debbie, this is why we need Austin. If I talk too much, I start to lose my words, man. The 49ers, there we go. They moved down the field and set up a potential game-winning field goal attempt by Jake Moody, who came back from injury this week. Jake Moody in this game missed 3 field goals. And so this was a very, nerve-wracking kick because it honestly, as good as Moody has been in his career, if he misses that and they go ahead to lose this game, Moody probably is out of a job. Missed 3, that situation, be 4 missed field goals in a game, one of them being the game winner. You can find another kicker. So many teams have found kickers just randomly in free agency, in the USFL, in the XFL, wherever, at Walmart. I literally think Brendan Aubrey was the best kicker in the NFL right now. I'm pretty sure he was sitting at home. His story is he was sitting at home watching football with his wife, and someone kicked a field goal, and he looks at her and he said, I should do that. I literally kid you not. And then he went out, started practicing, and now he is literally the best kicker in the NFL.
I can see it.
Yeah.
There was a guy, I fail to remember what team he was a part of, but I think he was a kicker on the team. And then, I don't know, maybe you sent me this, but he's documenting every single kick, the hardest kicks in the NFL, and then kicking them himself to try to, I don't know if he's trying to get back in the NFL, I'd assume.
Yeah.
That's kind of good
Rodrigo
strat.
Blankenship. He's he's got the goggles. He's kind of weird, but yeah, he was an NFL kicker, and now everybody's trying to become every kicker. There's so many kickers out there, is what I mean. So if he misses this kick, his career, he's gonna have another opportunity, but he's probably getting cut. He's probably out of a job, and so that adds to the pressure. Moody goes and makes the kick, just barely. It squeaks in, but 49ers go ahead and win this game. Brock Purdy played very, very well. Yes, I said Brock Purdy played very, very well. That's coming out of Caden Summers' mouth. I know. Wow. He threw for 353 yards in this game, 2 touchdowns, and no picks. Juwan Jennings is really stepping up right now. He had 93 yards in this game. Ricky Pearsall, the rookie receiver, had 73 yards and a touchdown, his first NFL touchdown. If you would tell me that the Vikings again, Debbie. that the 49ers leading receivers in this game, in any game at this point this season, before the season, if you'd have told me this, that would be Jawan Jennings and Ricky Pearsall. That would be insane. Deebo Samuel was the 4th leading receiver. Kittle was the 5th. Oh, I guess we should probably get to it. Christian McCaffrey returned. He was back.
Whoa.
Yeah. Debbie's sharing. Do you have McCaffrey in fantasy?
No.
Oh, you're just happy that he's back.
I mean, he should be. Like, he should be back.
Yeah, that's
He
true.
should be back.
Yeah, we're excited to see McCaffrey back. We all like McCaffrey. He's a fun player to watch, and he didn't do much through the ground. I mean, 13 carries for 39 yards, but through the air, he did Christian McCaffrey stuff with 6 receptions for 66 yards. So McCaffrey, I mean, he's just going to be building back up the steam. Doesn't look like any workload is too crazy taken off of him. I mean, Jordan Mason only had a carry. Garendo only had a carry. So all the running carries kind of went to McCaffrey in this game, just like a healthy Christian McCaffrey would. And on the other side of it, Baker Mayfield didn't do much stat-wise, but like we said, his grit, his being able to make random plays and turn nothing into something, it is keeping the Bucs afloat. I know they've lost a couple in a row now, and it's really sucked, that they lost Mike Evans and they lost Chris Godwin. But he's making things work with throwing the ball to guys like Cade Otton and Rashad White and Bucky Irving. 2 of those guys are running backs, and they're 2 of his top 3 leading receivers in this game. Yes, they're not winning the games, but they're not getting blown out. They're playing good football. Baker is carrying this team per se. So, I mean, I know they're not winning, but shout out to Baker. He's playing very well. All right, next we have Falcons and Saints. This was a shocker. The Saints coming off of a really bad loss last week to the Panthers, and they go ahead and fire Dennis Allen. They're kind of back to that revolting thing, and it's gotten to the point where they win this week. And I know, I can say this all I want. I can just say that because it's the Saints, but they go ahead and they win a meaningless game, and they're messing up their draft spot. I mean, their situation is really struggling right now. And Austin's not here to hear me say this. I hope Austin's listening, but I'm being dead serious. Drew Brees may be my absolute favorite quarterback of all time because of the way that he took the Saints and then just, left and retired. And then it turned into just turmoil in New Orleans. And it turned into Sean Payton leaving because he's like, okay, I need Drew Brees and we're not winning now, so I'm gone. And he just left, putting the Saints in a bad situation. Hiring Dennis Allen. He's been a terrible coach for so long now. He gets fired midseason. They still have some talent. Well, that talent goes ahead and wins a meaningless game, and now they're probably not in contention for the number 1, number 2, or even number 3 pick. I'm all for it. Keep messing up the Saints season. I'm all for that. But they did win this game. Derek Carr played, like we were saying, he played better in this game. He had one of the top plays of the week in that deep ball. He played. I'm trying to pull up his stats. I'm sorry. Kirk Cousins, we'll say that, really did struggle in this game. He had a lot of yards, but again, no touchdowns for them. Only 17 points against a really, really, really struggling and sputtering Saints team. They did a lot through the ground. Bijan with 116 yards and 2 touchdowns, but again, not enough to beat the Saints. It was kind of just a weird. How do you lose this game? You're rolling. You're in cruise control to go ahead and win the NFC South with the Panthers obviously struggling this year. The Saints, obviously, and the Bucs now with all their injuries. So they're in cruise control, and they go ahead and lose a weird game like this. But on the other side of it, Valdez-Scantling, like I said, 3 receptions, 109 yards, and and 2 touchdowns. So, and Derek Carr back to 269 yards and 2 touchdowns. Derek Carr put up a stat line like we saw in weeks 1 and 2, and that's when everyone was claiming the Saints as Super Bowl champs. I'm not going to say that K&A Football didn't, but everybody was high on the Saints after week 1 and 2. But, big win for the Saints, I guess, to push them out. But, yeah. I just lost where we were, Debbie. Here we go. Broncos, Chiefs. Here we go. Big game. We already talked about the ending a little bit, so we don't need to talk about that more. We'll just talk about the game itself. Bo Nix is quietly having an incredible second, like not second half because it's only been a couple weeks, but like his last, I don't know, 6 weeks has been amazing. He's quietly being about. You guys can't see what I can see, but I see like there's a big TV in front of me, and since Austin's not here, it's just filled with like, there's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, like there's a ton of me's on there from different angles, but there's also one that's just like a Debbie cam on the bottom, and I'm talking about this, and I look up at the screen for a second, and I literally just see this from Debbie. Like I don't know what Debbie was doing, but it was just.
Was it this?
Yes. Okay, did this people see it? Like you were look confused, but you were like inches away from your camera. I don't know.
Because we're professional here at K&A Football, and so I have the X feed pulled up, and I'm always trying to fact check as much as we can. So I'm like trying to read stuff.
Very professional here.
Yeah, super professional.
We're filming in an open room right now as well, which hey, that's okay. It's going great. Where was I at? Bo Nix having a great couple of weeks now. 215 yards and 2 touchdowns, no picks against the Chiefs. Very good defense. He's a rookie QB going into Arrowhead Stadium against the 8-0 Chiefs, against the back-to-back Super Bowl, back-to-back reigning champs, Kansas City Chiefs, and he was a blocked field goal away from beating them in Arrowhead with the Denver Broncos, with his supporting cast of Cortland Sutton, Lil Jordan Humphrey, Audric Estime at running back. I mean,
Who?
Yeah, Bo Nix is quietly maybe the second best rookie QB in this class, which is really crazy because I know us at K&A Football are not Bo Nix fans. At least weren't at the start of the season, but he's playing a lot better. Patrick Mahomes, he kind of had a Mahomes-like stat line for this season: 266 yards, only 1 touchdown. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of how the Chiefs have been this year, not playing good football, but winning the game. They moved to 9-0, and the only stat that matters is the W stat, and they got 9 of those, and they got 0 of the L's. That's all that matters. What's crazy is the team is activating running back Isaiah Pacheco soon. So soon, the Chiefs are going to have their superstar running back back. So things are getting scary for the rest of the league, but very exciting for K&A football. Yeah. But next game up here is the Bills and the Colts. This one, honestly, I'm not going to spend too much time on because it was not too much of a contest. I mean, the final score was 30-20, but really, I mean, the Bills jumped out to a very early lead because the Colts were throwing threw 2 very early interceptions. The Colts did come back and make it a little bit of a game. Josh Allen was, I believe Josh Allen threw some picks. Actually, that's a very important stat if that's true. Let me find that, because up to this point, Josh Allen has thrown no interceptions. Now I'm second guessing myself. Yeah, he threw 2 interceptions in this game, and that brought the Colts closer. But the Bills, they're a great team, and they have a lot of star power, and they were able to pull away and make this. I mean, the score looks kind of close, but it didn't feel very close watching this game. I think the storyline of this game is the Colts decided that they're going to go back to Anthony Richardson. They said, we've seen enough of Joe Flacco. Cleveland, you can have him if you want him. He's terrible. So they're going to go back to Anthony Richardson, which I guess it's a smart move. They're not winning with Joe Flacco. What's Anthony Richardson learning? It's the same situation that it was in Carolina with Bryce Young and Andy Dalton. And so I think the Colts are making a good move by putting Richardson back out there now. He had 2 weeks to sit. Maybe he needed to just rest up, because we all know that he said a couple weeks ago, he's tired and he just left the game mid-play. But yeah, that's all really from that one. Next game, this is crazy.
Hold up. Before you continue, just a question for anyone that might have Kareem Hunt. What do you for fantasy people especially? What do you think that does for them?
Does Debbie have
Is that-
Kareem Hunt?
Maybe. But, in general, I'm sure other people, are wondering,
Yeah.
Does this make my running back more valuable, less valuable? What do you think?
I mean, once Pacheco comes back, definitely less valuable. I think he goes close to little to no value once he's back. But I don't know if he's going to be back this week or even next week. They've just designated him to return, so he has 3 weeks to come back. Debbie's getting on his phone right now. Debbie might be trying to trade him as we speak. So he's still probably going to be, Debbie's going to try to trade him on the pod, on live. But he's still going to be good for probably 1, maybe 2 weeks. But once Pacheco comes back, unless Pacheco gets injured again, he's probably not going to see too much. Pacheco is going to be the dominant back on that team. But, I mean, I wouldn't dump him for nothing. He's going to be worth a little bit, especially if there's an injury out there, Debbie.
It's in the 32-man league. There's no shot that I could get anything for Isaiah Pacheco. Or again,
You were offered a trade for Kareem Hunt the other day, right?
I have Kareem Hunt.
Yeah. Someone
I've had
tried
him
to
for a
trade
long
you for Kareem Hunt
Oh yeah, that's right.
on Sunday night.
Oh man. Well, I tried to accept it, but then he refused it after I refused his. It was a whole thing.
Yeah, it was a little shady of
Don't
a
worry
deal.
about it.
He threw in free Chipotle.
Maybe I had free Chipotle. Maybe
Yeah,
I had
I
ice
was
cream
gonna say,
gift card. Who knows?
a little shady.
Maybe I'm tanking. You never know.
You're tanking in a league that has no draft picks.
Trust.
That is a crazy strategy, Debbie. All right. Another team that should be tanking right now is the Patriots versus Bears game. And we said the Patriots weren't going to be very good this year. They're not, but they got 3 wins. They're 3-7 now after beating the Bears, who only now have 4 wins. They were sitting at, I believe, 4-2 just a couple weeks ago. They lost on that Hail Mary, and things have just fell apart ever since that. They lost 19-3. That's so bad. I mean, the Bears, they have gone ahead and fired their offensive coordinator, Luke Getsy, today, but I really don't think that's the bulk of the issue. I think it's the entire coaching staff. I don't know. Caleb Williams in this game, 120 yards, no touchdowns, no picks. Obviously no touchdowns. They scored 3 points. DJ Moore, 3 receptions for 24 yards. He seems so unhappy. We know that DJ Moore was a big fan and a big friend and advocate for Justin Fields, and he said last offseason, I don't know why they would need to get rid of Justin Fields. I don't see an issue with him. Well, they went with Caleb Williams, and DJ Moore is not happy about it right now, and I don't think anybody in Chicago really is right now. They're playing terrible football. They have gone 24. Oh, Debbie left. Oh, Debbie's back. Debbie, I want you to hear the stat. They have gone 24 straight offensive possessions without scoring a touchdown.
That's wild.
That is so wild. 24 possessions is terrible. And when you have the number 1 overall pick, you have... I just spit, sorry. They have the number 1 overall pick. You got an okay running back in DeAndre Swift, but then you got Keenan Allen, DJ Moore, first-round pick Rome Odunze. How are you not scoring touchdowns? I understand it's coaching, but you got to be able to develop your QB. That's what we saw with a little bit of Bryce Young last season, and maybe with Anthony Richardson. Maybe Anthony Richardson just kind of sucks, but maybe Caleb Williams kind of isn't as good as we thought. But maybe it's Chicago. We got to wait and see what happens these next couple weeks. Obviously, it's looking like Chicago, they can't keep their head coach by playing like this. But on the other side of it, Drake May, 184 yards and a touchdown and a pick. A very good game from the rookie QB. I mean, didn't wow you by any means, but he did enough to win, and he's only about, I believe, like his 3rd or 4th start. He's playing a lot better football, and the Patriots, I'm assuming, are thrilled with him, especially with his very, very little weapons. He's thrown to Austin Hooper and our favorite player at K&A Football, Kayshon Boutte. But that's about all from that one. Next up, we have the Titans and the Chargers. The Titans losing this one, 17-27. The Chargers is the main team. Well, one of the 2 main teams that I was going to say when it came in terms of looking at a team and saying, hold on, they're that record. The Chargers are 6-3. I wish Austin was here so bad because I want to know what Austin would think about that because I don't know. I'm a big Herbert fan. We know that. I'm sorry, that was funny. I'm a big Herbert fan, and so I'm watching the Chargers. I'm rooting for the Chargers. I didn't know they were 6-3. I didn't know they had that many wins. 6-3 is phenomenal for what people were expecting the Chargers this season. I mean, Herbert isn't wowing you by any means, but he's doing what he has to do. He threw 4 incomplete passes in this game, 164 yards and a touchdown. He's doing what he has to do. They're relying on the run game, but he's also making a lot of good throws. They're playing good defense. The Titans aren't good, no, but the Chargers are 6-3, and they're on the verge of making the playoffs. So great for the Chargers, great for Jim Harbaugh, and that was insane to me when I realized that, and I feel like I had to share that to the pod. Next up, oh boy, Debbie. I don't want to spend too much time on the Jets because they got all of the media attention this offseason and the offseason before that, and always because they're the stinking Jets. But they're terrible, dude. You know, they had all these aspirations. They're going to be Super Bowl contenders. They're going to win. They're not just win their division, not just win the AFC, but they're going to contend and win a Super Bowl. Their offense is going to be amazing with Aaron Rodgers. Their defense is already, like everyone knows, their defense is amazing. Oh my goodness, they just brought in Devontae Adams. They're so good. Well, they've kind of pooped every single week, and they haven't played good at all. And
there's a report that I'm reading that says that Aaron Rodgers still wants to play in 2025.
Okay. Well, spoiler alert, there's a special segment today called Audible. Stay tuned for it, and we're going to be talking about the Jets in that. But, yeah, they played terrible week 1, didn't play great week 2. Well, week 3, I believe it was week 3, their Thursday night game against the Jets. They played very well. They are the Jets. Their week 3 game, against the Patriots. Debbie's doing his weird looking at the screen again. They played very, very well against the Patriots on that Thursday night game. And everyone's like, wow, their Jets are back. The Jets are going to contend, and the Jets are going to win. Like, this was their moment, and they're showing that they're a good team again. And now they're going to go on their run. Well, you know what they say. A glass frog only hops once. And they went right back to their losing ways. They kept losing. They kept stacking up losses. Well, it turns out maybe a glass frog only hops twice because they had another good week a couple weeks ago against the Texans on Thursday Night Football. Again, maybe they're just really good at playing on Thursday Night Football. But they go back. Now they've lost it a couple more, and they got obliterated by the Cardinals. 31-6. Aaron Rodgers, terrible game. But like I said, that's all I want to spend on the Jets for now. What I want to focus on is the Arizona Cardinals. Debbie, they are playing phenomenal football as predicted by a small podcast called K&A Football. Kyler Murray in this game, 266 yards and a touchdown. They're running the game. They're running the ball. Phenomenal. Kyler Murray had 2 touchdowns on the ground. James Conner had another on the ground. They're 6-4 right now and leading the NFC West. Their offense is phenomenal. Their defense was supposed to be awful, but their defense has been okay and sustainable. And if their offense keeps playing like this, there's no reason to me that they can't go ahead and win the NFC West over the 49ers. And they're playing, they have the lead right now. And if they keep playing like this, they're going to win that division. And they're really fun to watch. And Debbie's pulling up a clip right now. I can see Debbie working while I'm talking. That's crazy. What's Debbie got? Is this one of Kyler Murray's runs?
Hold up, let me make sure. Yeah, this is it. Let me put it up on the screen.
It is. Oh, I remember. I was so mad because I have James Conner in fantasy, and he kept it, and he ran.
It just makes me laugh whenever I see him run.
Why? Because he's so short.
It's just like, look at the way he runs. He runs like a 2-year-old.
He runs like an angry toddler.
It's crazy.
But yeah, the Cardinals are good, and honestly, like I'm not gonna say that they're going to the Super Bowl, but crazier things have happened, and with the lack of dominant teams in the NFC, I think it's not outside the realm of possibility if Detroit stumbles or the Eagles maybe, or the 49ers in their own division, if they get in over the 49ers. I don't know. I'm not saying they're going, but I'm not even saying they're going to the playoffs for sure, but it's just a team to definitely keep your eye on because they're very interesting and they're winning a lot of games, and they're the second main, them and the Chargers, that I was like, wow, they're 6-4 and they're leading their division. They're playing such good football right now. And the Cardinals have a bye this week. Darn it. I was really looking forward to whoever they played this next week. But all right, we got 3 games left. This one we can't spend too much time on. The Eagles won 34-6. Oh, Debbie, that was not a shot. That was not a shot at you, Debbie. Eagles won 34-6. The Cowboys suck. Dak is officially out for the season. Their season's over. Cooper Rush or Trey Lance, whoever's playing quarterback, is not going to lead that team to many, if any, there we go, wins this season. And the Eagles are very quietly back on their winning ways. They're rolling right now. There you go, Debbie. Thank you. I'll accept your apology later. Jalen Hurts is playing great football. Saquon has been one of the best additions by any team so far this season. A.J. Brown had his with 109 yards. They're just playing great football. Kenny Pickett came in for like the entire fourth quarter in this game because they were winning by that much. Debbie, I know you're a big Eagles fan. They're 7-2. What do you want to say about the Eagles right now?
They're my boys. Fly, Eagles, fly. I don't know. I mean, honestly, I watch a few games if I have time, but I'm not as dedicated as Kadin is at watching NFL games.
No, that's all right.
But yeah, I'm happy to see that they're continuing to like pick it up and not suck. Like, that's good stuff whenever that happens.
Love when that happens. All right, we got 2 games left. Debbie, I know you watched this game, so you can actually let's hear Debbie give his recap, and then if there's something that needs talked about, I can go ahead after you. But I was with Debbie during this game. We watched this entire game. Lions Texans on Sunday Night Football. The Lions won 26-23. Debbie, let's hear you take Austin's spot.
A lot of pressure here, yeah. Got a tiny pair of shoes to fill. But basically, I think the game was, for the most part, boring to watch in the first half, I would say. I mean, we went and grabbed wings after the first half because we were like, bro, what's happening? But yeah, I mean, the second half definitely picked up a lot more. There was a lot more interceptions, and we were watching it like on the way back in the car. I'm driving, and it was like I walked in to B-Dubs to get the food, and there was another interception on the TV. So like while we're driving there's interceptions. As soon as I walk in, there's another interception, and there was a guy I didn't tell you about this. There was a guy standing in B-Dubs by himself, surrounded by the TVs, and this is like almost emptied out. And he's just like standing there, just like looking up at the television. And as soon as the interception happened, he's like, no, and he's just like screaming, and I'm like, bro, like and the workers were like cleaning up the tables right behind him. It was really sad to watch. And then I came out and there was like more interceptions. So basically, I think we're gonna post a meme pretty soon here, but the gist of the meme is like, the other team threw 5 interceptions and you won, right? It's like, no, somehow you still lost. Yeah, I don't know.
Great analysis.
Right, more.
That was good. Yeah. I mean, like Debbie said, all the interceptions. There were 7 total interceptions in this game. The Lions Jared Goff threw 5 interceptions, and they won. Yeah. That's insane. First of all, I think, that just shows how good and the fight that this Lions team has to be able to overcome 5 interceptions. But another reason they were able to overcome is because the Texans and C.J. Stroud threw 2 interceptions of his own. If you look at the Texans this whole season, I know they're leading their division. First of all, they have an easy division. They're a lock to go to the playoffs because they're going to win that trash division. But the Texans, I know that they have what is their official record? They're 6-4. If you ask anybody, I think the Texans are still one of the most disappointing teams so far this season. People were expecting C.J. Stroud to pick up where he left off last year, and if not that, make a sophomore leap. and just become an MVP level quarterback and dominate with their new 3-headed monster at receiver. And I know 2 of them have been injured, but people got to start giving CJ Stroud a little bit of, I'm not going to say hate, but not glaze CJ Stroud like they have been his whole career so far. He played great the second half of the season, yes, last year. There's no denying that. He was putting up numbers we haven't seen from rookie QBs, I understand. But we're seeing what we saw from him at Ohio State. When he has a when he has a little bit of pressure in the pocket, he struggles and he can't throw. He can't get through his reads. He can't make plays with his legs like some other quarterbacks can. He really struggles when he has any bit of pressure. And once again, right back to Debbie, I see what you're doing over there. Stop.
Kadin is the reason why, because Bryce Young is disappointing you. You have to dog on the former Ohio State quarterback. So
I understand that Bryce Young hasn't been good so far, and I've said that on the pod. First of all, Bryce Young's played a lot better the last couple of weeks. If you compare Bryce Young's stats the last 3 games with CJ Stroud's the last 3 games, Bryce Young's are better. Bryce Young has more wins. Bryce Young has more touchdowns. Bryce Young has less interceptions. CJ Stroud is playing terrible these last couple of weeks and kind of this entire season, and it's not being talked about. Yes, I know he had a great end to last season. I understand. I know he had a great rookie season. I understand. But people need to start opening their eyes, taking off their rookie QB wow glasses, and realizing that he's not having the season that we thought he would. He is not the quarterback we thought he was at this point of his career. Everyone is still, oh my goodness, it's CJ Stroud. He's amazing. Let's put him on primetime every week. No, he's not that guy right now. He's struggling when he doesn't have his amazing offensive line and his weapons that he has right now. He's struggling. He has the offensive line that Bryce Young had last year, and he's struggling. People were dogging on Bryce Young all last season and praising CJ Stroud. But now, I'm not even saying their roles are reversed. Bryce Young's situation is still terrible compared to CJ's. But CJ's can't do anything right now. People just need to open their eyes and get over the fact that CJ Stroud had an amazing season last year, and he's never going to be a bad quarterback again because he has not played good this whole season, but especially this last month. They lost to the Jets a couple of weeks ago. We just talked about how bad the Jets are. You just played a quarterback who threw 5 interceptions in the game and you lost. Get better, CJ Stroud. All right, in our last game, is these the stats? Oh, that's his stats through the 10 games. Yeah.
Well, it's 2023 through 2024. It's kind of interesting. They're pretty much the same.
Yeah. Well, and his thing was he exploded in the second half. Think about CJ Stroud through 10 games last season. He has the same stats as those. And no one was saying CJ Stroud is amazing through 10 games in 2023. People were saying he was amazing. He was a game changer the second half of the season. Everyone's like, he's amazing. Oh my goodness. CJ Stroud for MVP 2024. Because they were expecting him to continue that or get better. But he's gotten worse from that.
I mean, but look at the difference.
Look at the passing touchdowns and interceptions.
That's the only stat that's changed, though.
That's a big jump. 5?
I mean, yeah, the passing rating is down 10%. So, yeah.
But it is kind of he's thrown 600 less yards. That's a lot. I mean, and for a team that had aspirations like the Texans, they're really struggling. But, yeah. I mean, Austin, I would probably disagree, but you can't lie with the stats and you can't lie with the numbers, and that's how he's performed these last couple of weeks, and that's kind of this whole season. All right, and then the last game here is the Dolphins and the Rams. Monday Night Football, the Dolphins got a much-needed win. They got their 3rd win of the season. Tua played well. The Rams, really, I don't know how they lost this game. I mean, they didn't play well from start to finish. They had most of their guys back and healthy. They're trying to make a push, but a really costly loss for them and a big win for the Dolphins. I don't think people at this point in the season are thinking the Dolphins can go to the playoffs unless they have a really good end of season and run. But Dolphins won this game. Tyreek Hill got back in the end zone. Tua is trying to get CTE and get out of the league. threw an interception in this game, and he ran at the dude. And instead of, I think Tua's the only quarterback in the NFL that, or player in the NFL that if you watch film and you see him not trying to make a tackle, you're like, that's okay. Like, we're not mad at you. But Tua decides he wants to be Mr. Tough Guy. And here we go. Tua goes to make the tackle and does this. Oh, maybe. Dramatic pause. Oh, there we go. Tua goes right down, sticks his head right down, and gets kicked in the head. I mean, dude is doing everything in his power to die. I mean, dude does not like having a functioning brain, unfortunately. And if I'm the Dolphins coaching staff, I'm screaming at Tua after that. Like, I know you're trying to make the play, but you don't need to try to make a tackle. Like, whatever. But that's that for the Week 10 recap. We're going to jump into, I guess we'll pick Week 11's games.
Austin also has his games that he sent us, so I can name off Austin's games.
Shout out Austin. Yeah. I did not do that when I was sick. Austin's better than me. Actually, Debbie, before we get into the Week 11 picks, I'm going to ask you super off-topic question, okay?
All right.
Me and you were having this conversation off the pod. Like, I don't know, however long we started filming the pod. You were talking about, because one of our friends, actually, friend of the pod, used to be on the pod. What's Micah's name on the podcast? Margaret?
Yeah.
No, Sue Ellen.
It's Sue Ellen. Yeah.
Sue Ellen. So Sue Ellen sent us a snap, and Sue Ellen has been growing out, the mustache a little bit, it looks like. And so we were talking about that, and you said I could never get myself to do that. And then you said, wait, and you said, maybe, and you're like, I don't know, I would have to lock
It'd
in.
have to be the right time.
So let me just ask you, like, can we get a confirmation from you on the pod so that it's on the pod, like knowing Keegan is going to do this? If not, it's okay.
Like, commitment to
like however long it has to be.
I don't know about that one, Chief Keef.
That's okay. If you're going to be a chicken on the pod, I just wanted it to be honest.
No, it's not like that. I don't know. Maybe eventually, but I'm not going to commit on the pod right now.
You're not going to commit?
Nah.
What if I say what if I tell you that I have decided to not trim my beard until December 1st in honor of No Shave November?
Wow.
What if we do
This
that?
would be good.
Yeah?
I would approve of that. Yeah. I think everyone can agree that Kadin's beard is the best beard of all time. So, yeah, I'd like to see what happens. I want to see that happen, actually.
All right, so
Are you committing right here, right now? Like, you're locked in?
it comes down to you.
Like, I can't pinky finger.
Well, it has to come down to you, I guess.
I have to agree as well?
Yeah, I said, what if I say...
Oh, man. Put me in a rough spot.
We can talk about this off air. It's all right.
Yeah, we'll talk about it later, but...
So we can go ahead now and jump into the Week 11 picks.
All right.
So I got the snap notification again from him, and it made me think of it. And I figured I know some people that would like us to have that conversation on air. So not football related, but fun related. So had to bring that up. Okay, so we're gonna pull these up here. All right, starting out with a Thursday night football game, Washington and Philly. I have Philly in this game. I'm going to be rooting for Washington, but I think the Eagles are going to win this one in Philadelphia.
Austin also has the Eagles.
Austin picked the Eagles as well?
Yep.
Cool. Mm-hmm. All right, Green Bay and Chicago. I have Green Bay. Not much to talk about there.
Austin also has Green Bay.
Mm-hmm. I assume he has Detroit.
Yep.
Same.
Of course.
Miami.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Same. I am going with the Rams.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, that's a hard game actually.
Is it?
The Browns game.
Oh, the next one. Is their bias going to get you? This is a surprising pick from Austin, I'm not going to lie.
I truly don't know who I'm picking. Like, can we skip? Let's skip this one. Let me get back to that.
All right.
The Colts and the Jets. I'm going to go with the Colts.
Austin has the Jets.
Wow. Okay. Baltimore and Pittsburgh. That is a huge game this week. I'm going to go Baltimore. It's in Pittsburgh. I'm going to go Baltimore.
Austin also has Baltimore.
Minnesota and Tennessee, I'm going to go with Minnesota.
Yep.
Atlanta and Denver, I'm going to go Atlanta.
Yes, Atlanta.
Seattle, San Francisco, I'm going San Francisco.
Yep.
Kansas City and Buffalo, I'm going to go Kansas City.
Yes, sir.
Have to pick them.
Have to.
Chargers and Bengals. Wow. That's another good game. I'm going to go with the Chargers.
Yep. Austin also with the Chargers here.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then Houston and Dallas, I'm going to go with Houston. I know
Yep.
I just ran it, but Dallas is really struggling.
Yep.
So we got to scroll back up.
A lot of similar picks
Yeah,
this
so
week.
right now we only have differed on, I believe, the Jets game, right?
Yeah, I think so.
And so, oh my goodness. Browns.
Walk us through this one. What's your thought process?
The Browns and the Saints?
Yeah.
We got the Browns who have really struggled, and obviously now they're starting Jameis Winston. And you got the Saints who have also really struggled, coming off of a win. I'm going to go with the Saints, actually, because they fired their coach. They looked a lot better last week. It's in New Orleans. Jameis did not look good last game, and the Saints have some playmakers, and we've seen 3 great weeks from the Saints.
Austin also picked the Saints.
Austin did.
Which, I mean, is pretty incredible. Like, he picked the Saints over the Browns, and they have a pretty similar winning percentage at this point and similar record. So, that tells you something.
Wow, so we only differed on one.
Yeah, it's
so
only one.
Austin, I wanted to differ on more because I want to extend my lead. I guess we can pull it up. I'm currently leading Austin by 102 to 88. So Austin's got a lot of ways to make up here, but it starts with the Viking. I said the Vikings for every single team. It starts with the Jets for you, Austin. You're a big Aaron Rodgers fan this week, but actually we're about to talk about Aaron Rodgers, so stay tuned. And next we're going to talk about this week's segment of the week. All right, welcome to this week's segment of the week. This week, myself, because if you listen to this week's episode, Austin is not here this week. He is sick. So once again, our thoughts and prayers are with Austin. We hope he gets better soon. But this week is going to be the audible. So how that works is Debbie has given us a team, and we're going to give the audible and tell you what we would do with that team, what we would do different, make an audible per se, change the play at the line, say what we would do differently with that team, player wise, coaching wise, schematic wise, whatever we could do to make that team different per se. So Debbie, do you want to go ahead and give us our team for this week's audible?
Sure. So for this week's audible, we're going to be commenting on the Jets, and we want to hear kind of your thoughts on what would you do with that team, what would you do with the quarterback situation right now, and just how would you improve overall their record next year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so the Jets, there's a lot of bad news around them right now because they had all this aspirations coming into last season. Obviously, that turned into nothing with Aaron Rodgers being hurt, and then even more aspirations this year, and those are all gone. They're even worse than they were last season, and they got Aaron Rodgers. They got Devontae Adams this year. They got all this stuff. They fired their head coach now. They're struggling. There's no way around that. This is going to be a very controversial take, per se. I know Debbie's smiling behind the camera. Debbie likes to hear that. Honestly, like, I know this is most likely not going to happen, but in all honesty, this is what I believe they should do and what should happen. The Jets' season is over. There's no hiding that. Yeah, the Jets' season is over. They're 3-7. They're third in the AFC East. I mean, Aaron Rodgers has completely fallen off of a cliff. Their defenses fell off after they fired Robert Saleh. They haven't won a game, I believe, since Saleh's been fired. Their team's in shambles, and Aaron Rodgers is not getting any younger. Aaron Rodgers, more than likely, I would have to imagine, is going to retire at the end of this season. If he plays in 2025, he can't play for the Jets. If he does, you're giving up for next season as well. Your season's over. So for the Jets, I think...
Quick fact check.
Yeah.
In the 5 games since they fired Saleh, the Jets are only 1-4.
Oh, so okay. So they have...
But they won
game.
one. I
think that
yeah.
Texans game then, yes. Thank you, Debbie. I know, sounds crazy. You have a rookie QB on the roster. Jordan Travis, rookie QB out of Florida State. He played very well for Florida State last season. No, nobody's expecting him to be a good NFL quarterback. He was a 5th-round pick for a reason. But he is a rookie. He was good in college. See what you have in that rookie. I think if I'm the Jets, I'm playing Jordan Travis. And I'm letting him play the rest of the season. If he plays great, oh my goodness, awesome. You have a Brock Purdy situation where you just found your starting quarterback late in the draft, somewhere that you're not supposed to find a starting quarterback. But you just found your guy, and now you might not make the playoffs. You're not going to make the playoffs, but you can use that high pick on somewhere else on the team to help you, somewhere on your defense or somewhere on the offensive line or something like that. But more likely situation is Jordan Travis isn't good. You know that. It's like, oh, well, at least we tried to see what we have in our rookie QB. You end up with a high pick. Aaron Rodgers retires into the sunset. He rides into the sunset, goes back to his darkness retreat. And then you draft one of the top QBs in the draft there. Obviously, Aaron Rodgers, he can't be in your plans for 2025. So see what you have in your rookie QB who's played good in college. If he's not good in the NFL, you have a high pick. If he does, then you have your QB, which is so important. The Jets haven't had that in how many years? They thought that was going to be fixed by bringing in Aaron Rodgers, and that couldn't even get it done. On the other side of it, on the coaching staff, obviously, your interim coach right now is not the answer. You fired Saleh, and your team has gotten worse. Your defenses fell off. You need to bring in a good defensive coordinator to fix your defense. I mean, your defense has all the pieces there. They just need to have the coach there to schematically scheme them up and get their defense right back to where it was last season and part of this season. But on the coaching side of it, there's so many names you can bring in. Ben Johnson is going to be available this offseason, the Lions offensive coordinator. Mike Vrabel is available right now. And I think it's not going to happen, but I think it'd be so funny. Bring in Bill Belichick. Obviously, he's dominated the Jets his whole career. Go to the Jets and start over there. I don't think that's going to happen, but there's so many options at coaching staff. But the biggest thing I'm trying to get at is put in Jordan Travis. It's not going to happen. They would never bench Aaron Rodgers. That would be... The NFL would probably kick them out of the league. But I think that's what needs to happen. And they're not going to win games. I'm not saying they're going to go to the playoffs or even win a game because of that. But see what you have in that guy. And you have a great young core with Garrett Wilson, Breece Hall, and Braylon Allen, the rookie running back. Capitalize on that.
You need to be able to get that quarterback in there eventually to grow with those young guys. Devontae Adams isn't getting any younger either, but he's going to be on your team next year. So figure something out. Aaron Rodgers, that's the only thing. He can't be on that roster next year. He needs to be gone. But that's my audible for the New York Jets. I really want to know what Austin would think about that. So, Austin, if you are listening, shoot me a text because I want to know what you think. If not, I'm probably just going to call you and ask you what you think about that because I am curious. I know you're a big Aaron Rodgers fan. So, thank you for listening to this week of K&A Football. Hopefully next week, Austin and I will be back together for the first time in 3 episodes, and hopefully Debbie is here as well and did not get attacked by the K&A football sickness that is going around. So thank you for watching.